My next guest is coming off a huge win back at LFA 109, getting that second round TKO victory over Askar. Askar, it is Justin Wetzel back here on the program. Justin, what's up? How's it going?
Awesome, man. Thanks. Obviously they're going great. Had a big win and excited to talk to you, man.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you after such a big performance. Again, for those who don't know, Askar was signed to the UFC. They had an issue. He went back and fought in LFA, and Justin just got a big win off of him, like I mentioned off the top there. But I wanted to start first with heading into the fight. What was the game plan? And obviously it seemed like it worked because you were able to finish him.
Yeah, the game plan going into that was to put the pressure on him. He's a fighter that likes to put his foot on the gas. And if I'm backing up and if I'm being defensive, that is not a key to being a fighter like that. So the best way is to put more pressure than he's trying to put on me and to get in his face right away. And that's what I did. I dropped him right off the gate with the left. It didn't land clean. It hit. My wrist still kind of hurts a little bit. But I hit him with the wrist and it knocked him down. And I wasn't even close, man. I dominated him everywhere. A lot of people were telling me, when I was telling them about the fight, that, oh, yeah, it's a tough fight. I think you can out-grapple him. I think, you can wrestle him. In my head, though, I was like, no, I can beat this guy everywhere, and that's exactly what I did.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Once you did drop him early on, how much did the confidence level go up? Because, again, I know you were expecting to, maybe have a war. You got to expect every outcome, right? But I'm sure once that happened, You're like, I'm going to finish this guy for sure.
I mean, you do think of every outcome, but I was reading this book. I read a book that day. It was called The Book of Five Rings, and it was written by a samurai in the feudal era who was 60-0 in death matches. And one of the quotes in the book stuck out to me that said, don't imagine any other possibility other than the one you want. And I saw myself knocking him out. I saw myself finish him. I didn't see myself submitting him. I mean, if that were to happen, sure. But I saw me finish him by a knockout or a TKO. And the overhand left out the gate that I landed, we had been working on that for about 2 weeks beforehand. We're like, get him to think you're going to wrestle. Get him to think you're going to level change, and then just open up with the overhand. And I mean, I guess it could have worked better if it landed flush. I think it would have KO'd him stiff, but I'll take it, man. It was awesome.
Anything at all surprise you about him, or was it pretty much everything you expected that took place in the fight?
I guess this isn't to be disrespectful, but I expected him to be a little tougher, a little better. As far as there were certain things I did, when I hit the single leg takedown on him, he just went down, right? I never ever hit that easily, here in elevation, right? I usually have to switch to another takedown or something else, but when I was doing things, I was like, oh my God, it's all working, everything's coming together. That's not to be disrespectful to Askar. That's just what I felt in there.
How did you celebrate after a big win like that?
I had one slice of pizza, and that was it for me. I just hung out with my friends back home, friends and family. I didn't drink at all. I ate a bunch of food. That's about it, man.
Is that just because, just in case something happens, you don't want to, kind of go too off the rails in terms of food and drinking and stuff? Because again, this is a huge win on a really big LFA card too.
Yeah, well, you saw, Terrence, me and him were in the locker room together. He fought right after me. He fought 72 hours later. So, or not that, it was like a week. So whatever, he fought the next week. So that very easily, I think, could happen to me. I took this 1 week to enjoy, the peacetime, if you will. I didn't train at all. I just ate whatever I wanted. But that week's over now. I was back in the gym yesterday. I got 2 practices in. I'm going to get, 2 practices a day. I got to stay ready. I don't want to miss an opportunity because of the weight scale.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What have you been eating this week? I'm curious. Every fighter's got a different go-to. I know there's some pizza on there, I'm sure. But what do you enjoy eating after a fight?
I did have a pizza. It was a gluten-free cauliflower type crust one. I'm not severely, but I'm pretty intolerant to wheat. So that eliminates a lot of things I can eat. But it was more so just probably overconsumption, dude. Instead of 1 or 2 eggs in the morning, I have 4 or 5 with 5 pieces of turkey bacon and 6 pieces of chicken. So it's more overconsumption, really. I did dive into an ice cream tub, one of those, some cookies. But, it's more just overconsumption. I still stay fairly healthy with the quality of food I'm eating. It's just a lot of it.
Did you notice, and I know this was a pretty big card in terms of the eyeballs, because Terrence, obviously he was the main event, and then, that ended up getting signed to the UFC. But did you find a lot of good feedback on social media just because you did finish the fight, especially against a guy that people are pretty familiar with?
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people were kind of ripping on Askar, oh, he's not as good as he thought. I'm like, no, man, he's good. It's just I was a better fighter and relatively unknown, on the bigger scene. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I definitely got a lot of positive reaction, to knock out a UFC signee in the second round. I think we'll do that.
Yeah. By the way, those fans going after him, I see this all the time. I just want to quickly comment on this. That's people who wish they could fight. Like that, I don't know why. I don't know what goes through the mind of someone saying this guy sucks or whatever. Like, I never understand that, but it's got to be insecurity, right? Don't you think?
Yeah, man, the MMA fans, man, they really turn me off when they do stuff like this guy's a bum. Oh, like, you have no idea like, he might have had a bad week that day. Might be like, who knows? My last fight, there was a decision, really close one. I was throwing up that morning. I was like, I had diarrhea, throwing up. Like, I was super sick, and it led to a pretty shitty performance. I mean, I still got the win, and that's really what matters. But anybody can look at them and be like, oh, wow, that guy's not that great. But you have no idea, like, what's going on beforehand.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Okay, so I noticed you were the betting underdog going into the fight. Did you have anyone win money on your fight? I know not every sports book has LFA, but did you have anyone that had won money on your fight?
I didn't. See, with LFA, I don't think the odds don't come out until like the day of the fight, so it's a little bit harder. But I was pretty confident that I was going to be the underdog. You know, a lot of the MMA, especially like for LFA, a lot of the betting lines, they look at the record. Like, oh, this guy's 6-1, this guy's 11-1. The 11-1's the favorite. Like Edwin Cooper Jr., he was like a plus 300 underdog or something like that. I saw that fight on paper. I know who Edwin is from like high school wrestling and stuff. I was like, there's no way this dude's like, maybe he'll get caught in like some funky submission, but he's going to destroy this kid. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
And that's why regional MMA is interesting, because like if there are people who are in the know, they sort of have more information than say the odds makers, because usually how it works is, right, they'll set the line and then the public will hit it and it can go either way, or sometimes they don't hit it enough. But yeah, you're right. There are spots like that where people miss out. I think one of the biggest ones was like years ago. I don't know if you remember Zach Riley, who fought for RFA. He had like a pretty, I can't remember if that was the controversial fight he had or not. I can't remember which one it was, but he was like a huge underdog. I think like almost like plus 1,000 or something. I remember that fight back in the day. That was huge.
Oh, no. It wasn't Boston Salmon. It was, God, what is that dude's name? I know exactly what you're talking about. He pulled out, Hugo.
Yes, Hugo Viana, I think was his, was it Viana? Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, that was one. I figured you might know because Riley's a Colorado guy, right, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I actually got matched up with him a few years ago, but I think he got injured and the fight just fell through. But yeah, I know who he is.
Okay. Like I mentioned, huge implications here with the win. You're in a good spot. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you've got three options. You stick around for a short notice UFC call like Terrence McKinney. You can go back to LFA, where I'm sure you'd be like a main event or, you know, pretty high up on the card like you were this past time, or potentially Contender Series. I mean, obviously UFC is the best choice, but would you sort of want to stay with LFA? That way the focus is on you, or would you consider going to a Contender Series as well?
Well, I think you should ask any UFC fighter if they want their next fight to be for the LFA, man. No, dude, I don't want to fight. Listen, the LFA is taking care of me. They have, provided the big stage feel. They've done well, and I've enjoyed my fights with them. But no, I don't want to fight for LFA anymore. I don't want to fight for the Contender Series. I don't want to fight any more studs. I don't do this for the money. I love the sport, but I don't want to fight another UFC level person that's not in the UFC for a few, like not even a couple $1,000s, for no guarantees that if I lose that fight, not that I plan on losing any fights, but my career goes backwards 6 months. I'm almost 30. I've been in this for 10 plus years. I want in the UFC, and Corey is fighting TJ in 6 weeks, and there's 4 or 5 bantamweight matches on that card that aren't him. So I'm gonna stay ready, and I'm gonna get ready for that date. And if anyone pulls out, I'm the man for that spot.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I just sort of threw out the options there just to kind of see what works. Because I know for some guys, if you don't get that signing, then maybe it's where, you want to keep active type thing. But I agree with you. I mean, great record. And like I said, big card that you got the win on as well. Like I said, if Terrence McKinney can get the call, I'm sure you're right on the list as well. On that note, looking at the bantamweight division right now, training with a guy like Corey Sandhagen, how do you feel like you stack up against the 135-pound class? Just having a look at the rankings and some of the fighters in there.
There's a lot of people in the UFC, man, that I think I could. There's a lot of people outside the UFC that are tougher matchups for me than some certain people in the UFC. I think I match up with a lot of the bantamweight roster very well, and especially training with Corey, man. He's the best bantamweight in the world, in my opinion. He's gonna get to showcase that when he knocks out TJ. And keeping up with him and just training with him all the time and being around that greatness, I know I belong.
How's Corey looking in camp right now? I know the fight got rescheduled, but I know he's in there training all the time. I'm sure if anything, it's helped him out a little bit more just to work on more things and, bring an even different Corey Sandhagen into the fight against TJ.
Yeah, exactly. When the fight got postponed, he was actually kind of, like, oh, cool, I get to sharpen up more of these tools I'm working on. He's been working on some some shit. I'm not gonna say what it is, man, but I got a good feeling that he's gonna land a highlight reel.
What else is on the agenda this week? We know you'll do a bit of training. Getting in any video games or Netflix or reading any books? What's because there's got to be some downtime this week, right?
I had all my downtime last week, man. I made it a point, like after a week after the fight, if a fight goes 5 seconds or 5 rounds, I'm taking one solid week to just let the peace set in, and then it's right back to getting ready for war. And like I said, I got back in there yesterday. I had plenty of calories to burn, so I actually wasn't that out of shape, surprisingly. So I'm going to get after it today, get a good hard weekend, recover over the weekend. I probably won't do like any like really hard sparring this week, still like settle back in. But it's, before I know it, Corey's going to be fighting TJ in like 5 or 6 weeks, man. That's quick. And I don't want to be a guy that gets in short notice, loses his first UFC fight, and everyone can be like, oh, he took it on short notice. He was out of shape. Let's see how he does. No, I want to get in there. I want to win, make a statement, and climb up the ladder right away, man.
Yeah, and I know different weight class, but how inspiring was it to see a guy like Terrence who just fought on the same card as you and go out there and take advantage of an opportunity and get like a historical knockout win? I mean, that's pretty cool, right?
It was awesome, dude. Like I said, we were backstage right before the fight, and once the feature, I think Cooper had just fought, and it was just me and Terrence backstage, right? Like getting ready, and he's like, they're saving the best two for last, like shit like that. And I told him, I was like, let's get that contract, let's get that call. And just the camaraderie backstage. And we both went out there and performed very well, got the finishes, and I think we're both good. Well, he already got the call, so I'm next.
Yeah, I agree with that. Justin, thanks so much for the time. Hopefully this is the last one we do as a regional fighter, and next one will be in the UFC. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Hey, all you guys that give me the interviews, including you, James, my management, Dodge Sports, everyone at my team, Elevation Fight Team, you guys are the best. Pound for pound, Justin Houghton, J-Ho. That's about it, man. Look me up, Jay Wetzel MMA, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks, James.